Yeah, so I have a new customer that he's getting all his online marketing all set up, his profiles. He's actually moving to a whole new like area from like Florida to Georgia. So he's starting completely fresh. And so, I've given him lots of just tips and stuff on where to go. And he had a question this weekend that I noted because this call comes up, we try to have something prepared. And it was a good question that I think covers a lot of bases. And his question was, I recommended building some reviews because he's running some like actual local print ads in like in a newspaper and kind of like starting that way. And so I told him that the importance of getting some reviews so we can display those on the website so that anyone that goes, he can kind of be seen as like trustworthy. So he has a Google, he has a Yelp, and he has Angie's List set up. And he asked me where to focus reviews. And I said, Google, then Yelp. I then found out that he pays Angie's List to get on a top 10 list. And so what we're going to dive into is why I recommended Google, then Yelp, and then knowing what he does with Angie's List, why that's an important factor. So we're going to dig into it real quick. I've got a screen share I'm going to throw up. Can you see that okay?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, sweet. So this gentleman, John, is in Hiawassee, Georgia. It's actually a super rural area, kind of an interesting marketing thing when it's that rural. But so here, someone is looking up, they need a handyman, they need a home repair service, looking up handyman in Hiawassee, Georgia. So the first thing we're going to see here is Google Ads. 15% of clicks go here. Now we have Google Maps, about 35% of clicks go here. And then 50% of clicks go to the organic website listings, with half of those going to actually number one. So in this case, and in many cases too, the Yelp top 10 list is, it's going to be number one. Yelp is just a super prominent, very, very high domain authority. So it's going to be ranking very high in most areas. So, so walking through why I recommended Google. First off, unless you're running Google ads, you're not going to be here. Okay, that's where you like pay per click. It's got ad. As you can see here, there's local handyman pros. They advertise everywhere, cheap handyman services. I doubt if you're trying to build a business, you want to work with them because you're likely getting paid very little for that lead. Angie's List here, TaskRabbit, Thumbtack. I saw a question about Thumbtack. This is how they get their leads, guys. When you look at like Home Advisor and Thumbtack and you pay per lead, they are first paying for this click right here. So clicking into Thumbtack, they're a massive company, so we'll charge them the $1 or $2 that they spend on the click here. So this is how they're giving leads to people that pay them. They're driving traffic to this top 10 list. So there's people here that are advertising on Thumbtack. So anyway, that's the pay-per-click section. Why I recommended Google, number one, as you can see, Google Maps is the first thing that comes up. 35% of clicks come here. In many rural areas, and many areas, no matter where you are, there is great opportunity to rank in Google Maps. There's multiple factors that come into ranking here, but the ones that you can focus on is, you got to set up your address correctly. You got to optimize your profile. Make sure you have handyman selected as your category. There's lots of other stuff we won't get into, but this is why I recommend Google as one of the primary places to drive reviews. It gets 35% of the clicks, and it's first right here. So it's kind of a bad example because it's like, what is the best click right here? I mean, I guess Barry Fair Home Improvement LLC, he's got 1 5-star review and he's got a website. This guy doesn't have any reviews. This guy's got 2 reviews. One is a 1-star, one's a 5-star. So that's why Google, number one, recommended to get reviews. Yelp is second because, as you can see, here's the Yelp top 10 list. So when you look at like the consumer behavior, they're typing in a handyman in Hiawassee, Georgia. If they're not clicking on an ad, they're not clicking here, then half of these clicks are coming right here to Yelp. And so you want to be here. And actually, if this guy advertises with Yelp, which you just want to be sure you know what you're paying for, because they do promote to the top of a list. That's an option if you make that clear to them. They could instantly get right here, number one spot, by paying a little bit of advertising dollars to Yelp. Again, highly depends on your area whether that's going to be worth it for you. But you could see how a consumer would type in handyman, Hiawassee, Georgia, and then come to this list and then search through here. Again, because it's so rural, there's not really great examples of like, this is the obvious click, but say Owens B Services has like 10 5-star reviews and these guys are still at 1 star. These guys are going to get a lot of the clicks and a lot of the calls. So that's why my first couple recommendations were Google and then Yelp. John, this guy, he then pointed out that he advertises on, he signed up with like Angie's List. So that changes things a bit. Angie's List, as you can see here, is the 3rd ranking organic listing down here. This likely isn't getting a ton of clicks compared to Yelp. However, something that's very, very important is that Angie's List is advertising to, like they're getting the pay-per-click. So if he's paying Angie's List to be promoted, then he's going to want to get some reviews on his Angie's List profile, because one, he's paying Angie's List to be promoted. Angie's List is paying for the click up here. They are the 3rd listed organic website right here. So it's certainly worthwhile if you're paying for any kind of profile for like prominent display within their website. You want to have a handful of reviews. So that's why it's important for me to know that this guy's advertising on Angie's List, paying to be promoted here, because he'll definitely want to maximize those ad dollars by getting a handful of reviews on his Angie's List profile. From there, obviously, I hope you can see the importance of Google My Business, just super high visibility, tons of clicks go here. Focusing reviews on here also. Google My Business is very directly tied to your website in the way of like search engine optimization. So giving lots of love to that profile is just one of the greatest tactics any local home service can do. So I know we just covered a lot, but that's basically the reasoning here of why Google and then why Yelp is important to focus on reviews right here, #1 site. And then of course, talking a little bit about the pay-per-click stuff. So